Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Double Cross Anime. This is week 22, and I'm Mario. With me today is Whooper.
That's me.
All right, if you can tell apart between me and Whooper voice, just remember that me Mario is the one who have the American accent,
Right.
and I don't
And
know, I
I'm
don't know, I don't know
I'm
about Whooper's.
I'm half Vietnamese, half Australian, I guess.
That's right. All right, so today for week 22, we have episode 5 of Banana Fish and basically episode 4 of everything else. And then we're gonna get to the next batch of Nadia Secret of Blue Water, episode 21 to 25.
That's right. Where should
So,
we start?
all right, let's start with, let's say, Revi Starlight,
Okay.
because we
Saving
haven't started
s-
with that one.
saving the best for first.
All right. Cooper, how you feel about these episodes in
I
general?
was I was a little bit underwhelmed, probably because it didn't feature
The the fight, the
yeah,
dude.
there was no combat scene at the end. No review.
Yeah. Well, I
So for that
yeah.
reason I think it fell a little short of the other three. How about you?
Well, I don't really expect we have to do every single episodes. I do feel a bit underwhelming, but being said that, I'm glad that the show tried to develop the relationship between the two main girls and the dynamic between all those girls in the team as well. So I'm still enjoy what I see.
Yeah, me too. That's still my favorite show of the season by a mile.
Yep. So basically, in this episodes we have like um let's say the show itself is about like the competition. It's about like everyone try to get into the spotlight, but the last episodes we have all of them like working together as a team. Like they actually look out for each other, and I usually this is like a plot of the idol shows, but I feel that it's appropriate to this episodes and to this show as a whole.
Yeah, I think it did its job. I think it was okay, but it does concern me a little bit that they're pushing the friendship and teamwork elements so much
Mm,
because the what's driving the show is the fact that all nine girls are competing for the top star position, and
mm,
you can figure based on Karen being the main character and her representing, like inclusivity and partnership that
mm,
in the end we will get a rejection of the idea that there can only be one star. That's what the show's gonna sell us eventually. But I'm
mm,
concerned about the fact that they're moving so quickly in that direction so soon.
mm.
Like
Well,
especially with all the girls coming together to support Karen and Hikari and like cover for them after they left the school and they stayed out
mm,
past curfew.
yep.
How all the girls, several of whom are like extremely competitive, you
Mm.
know, what's her face with the two little hairs coming out the side of her head, whose name I keep forgetting every week.
My hero.
Yeah, Mahiru. That's right. Mahiru. She actually tells two of the girls like, "You're not thinking of ratting out Karen, just so that you can
Mm,
get another competitor out of the way, are you?" Like
mm,
that's some of these girls are like that. They really want. I'm thinking particularly of Maya. They really want to be at the top. So
yep.
now that they're all buddy buddy, and as Karen and Hikari come back from the aquarium or wherever they were, Tokyo Tower in the morning,
Mm,
and they're all like eagerly awaiting their arrival, and Maya's like looking out the window approvingly. That's to me that was a little bit too much. It didn't make me want to like turn off the TV or anything, but
all right.
I was kind of worried.
All right. I think that worked for me because you see the fact that all these girls they play into the review things. They fight for each other for the top star,
Right.
But then again, they play together as a group into that in the play. So basically, a group dynamic is something that they need to develop as well.
That's
So
true.
I actually agree with that. The choice the show have.
But don't you think that takes away a little bit from like the fierceness and the competition of
Yeah,
the
it
review at the
does.
end of the episodes?
It does. I think the show stretched out a bit thin this week. I would have preferred that, like, instead of the whole episode we have up on this girl, like, supporting the main two characters. I would like some more competitive, like, at the end. Maybe not a do, but something like, like, to 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 hint us that they are still competitive between the girls. But, well, I take what I have.
Yeah. Hmm.
So no more complaint from me.
How about any
How,
more
how
comments?
All right, how do you think about the main characters dynamic
You
after the
know,
episodes?
I I really liked the way that it opened. You know how
Mm-hmm.
in the first episode and maybe even in two or three,
Mm-hmm.
we see little Karen, like a younger version of Karen, watching the performance Starlight
Mm-hmm.
that's being
Yep.
put on, let's say, by another troupe, or
Mm-hmm.
who it's being put on by is kind of irrelevant because the show's like highly symbolic. But you see little Karen and she's watching a stage play and she is like amazed by it. In this episode, we actually get to see little Hikari,
Mm-hmm.
I think for
Mm-hmm.
the first time, and we see them next to each other and they're holding hands. So I
Mm-hmm.
was when the episode started, I was like really jazzed to see, um, like learn a little bit about them as people, about their backstory, their relationship when they were younger, how it's changed over time. But
Mm-hmm.
we didn't get so much of a progression or an evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mostly we just got kind of a resolution to the fact that she locked her in a storage shed one time.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me that the main thing that Karen is afraid of is that that Hikari is afraid of is that she and Karen will eventually have to fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she says when they're when they're at that playground in the
Yep.
shadow of Tokyo Tower.
Yep.
She points out that if Karen is going for top star, that means that they're eventually going to have to, duel. And of course, Karen says, "Well, that's not true. We'll just put on like a duet, like a group performance. We'll
Yep.
break the rules."
You
And
have.
that was like a pretty clear reiteration of a theme that her character like already
Yep.
represented. So I didn't feel as though
Yep.
there was a big step forward.
All right. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the Hunger Games?
Sorry. Yes, I have.
Yeah. So I think they gonna go on that route.
Well,
So you.
I saw the first
Rem-
two. I didn't see
yeah, yeah.
either of the last two.
So I was talking about the first movies when there are only the two of them in the end, and actually they just do something that, like, both of them survive.
Yeah, well, they threatened to commit a double suicide, don't they?
Oh, yeah, that's
And
right,
then
that's what they did.
as a result, they kind of force the hand of the people running the game, and they
Yep.
declare them like joint champions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the way that the show gonna go.
Yeah,
Not
I
sure.
mean, I would really love for something on a little bit on the darker side. I know we already like as of episode 2, we already know that this is not Madoka Magica levels of,
Yep.
grimness.
Darkness. Yep.
Yeah. But I would like the show to move back, like to move a little bit away from like the power of friendship,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and move towards at least increase the stakes of the reviews of the duels themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, a big deal earlier was made about the fact that there are 8 girls, or there are
Yep.
8 spots and 9 girls. So
Yep.
whoever's in last place is something I would like to know if there's some sort of terrible fate that awaits them,
That's
or what
right.
exactly the consequence is for coming in ninth, or even if you don't come in first. I just like a little
Yep.
more weight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
I, I
the show's interesting thematically, but I'd like it to have a little more push behind it.
that's right. I get what you meant. But to next week we're gonna see the consequences of all the girls having to face for Karen and Hikari for living past the curfew. So
Oh
I
yeah,
wonder what's gonna happen.
what did the teacher say? It was like a special course, an
Yep,
intense course, something like that.
yep. Mm-hmm,
I wonder if we'll actually see that.
mm-hmm.
It kind of
Yeah.
seemed like a bit of a gag on the show's part. Like the teacher
Yep.
knew all along.
Mm.
Maybe it'll be something like really pushes them to the brink, and then the relationship, the bonds that they formed will kind of start to get strained because they're put under so much stress, and then we'll get
Well,
like a really fiery duel to end out
well,
episode 5.
well, I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna be a strange or stretch between these characters. Consider what we see in these episodes. But I'm willing to get surprised by if the show goes that way.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be surprised because I don't the one of the best things that the show has going for it is how different it is,
Mm-hmm.
and for it to start to feel familiar is
Yep.
would kind of hamper my enjoyment of it. But it's just like you. I'll take what I get. This I'm still very happy with it so far.
All right. I have one more thing I want to talk about. I want to ask you, how do you think about the location of Hikari going each place? Is there any significant behind that?
The location of what? You mean the aquarium?
Yeah. Also she went to three different aquariums, and then she went to the Tokyo Towers,
Yeah. Is there
and
supposed to be an aquarium at Tokyo Tower? Because
I have no idea.
there was a sign there that said like the aquarium is closed, or and then
Mm.
remember that scene where they're both sitting on the bench, and Karen's
Yep.
like, "Oh man, it would have been really nice to go to the aquarium."
Mhm. Mhm. All right.
I regret to inform you and our audience that I don't know anything about Tokyo Tower or any attractions that may or may not be there. But
Yep.
as to your question, I know I don't understand the significance of her going to the aquariums. Did you make anything out of
No.
that?
No, I don't. I actually maybe it's like kind of things that she used to like. I'm not really sure. I'm not make any like concrete answer out of that. I know the significance behind the Tokyo Tower, so I reckon there'll be some sort of like message between of her going to the aquariums, like different aquariums.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just aquariums that are actually around the Tokyo area, and
Mm,
it was kind of a shout out to people like locals who were watching.
mm,
I don't know.
that's
Hopefully,
alright.
hopefully it ties back in somehow. I mean, maybe we got a kind of a glimpse of their shared backstory, Karen and Hikari. So maybe in future
Mm.
episodes, if the show decides to delve back into that, we'll see the two of them at an aquarium together or a zoo or I don't know. It's kind of a long shot.
All right, and that's one other thing that I really like about these shows is like how the talking giraffe,
Yep.
how like everyone don't question about the talking giraffe because it's supposed to be like like something surreal, but everyone like is secret looking like want to gain more information about him or her. So I just there's someone just remind me about the episode 2, I think, when Chuna, when she's in the room and she was reading a book or something, and the book she reading was like the unidentified animals, wild animals, and they have the picture of the giraffe. So that just means that she was learning about what the hell the talking giraffe is.
Well, when Karen first meets the giraffe in episode 1, she makes a big deal out of it.
Yep. Well,
She's
we make a video out of it too.
yeah. I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah. So I'm glad that the show, like somehow still tie the the surreal stage dude with the real life.
Yeah.
So there is some kind of connection between them. So I like that.
Yeah, it makes you more curious about how exactly they overlap. What
Mm-hmm,
level
mm-hmm.
of reality is the duels are happening on.
Yep. All right. I have nothing else to say about this week review Starlight. How about you?
Nope. Nope.
All right.
Nope. Nope.
Despite it's like it feel like a most filler of week for Star Review Starlight. I still like it. I still pretty enjoy it.
Yeah. Me too.
Also, hopefully they go back to the stay dude
Yes,
because
please.
that, yep, it's the show at its best. All right, so let's. Whooper, you want to talk about the new show?
You mean Planet with?
Yep, Planet With. So we actually have like episode 2 to 4 of Planet With.
Yeah, I took notes on all three. I had to catch up. You had been watching it week to week.
Yep. I hear you just laughing there. So, what your talk? What your thought about the show?
My thought is, I don't know what the hell is going on, and
Yes.
not in a good way.
All right. Tell me
After
more about
after
that.
episode one, I was confused in a good way. I was
All
like,
right.
okay, I feel as though the show is aware of its own tropiness and will start to put it together more concretely as it goes on. But
Mm-hmm.
instead, it has done the opposite. It's dished out a whole bunch of information
Mm-hmm.
about the Nebula warriors and Soya himself
Mm-hmm.
and the cat Neko Sensei and his gigantic spaceship that looks just like him or whatever that I don't know. Just
Mm-hmm.
saying all this stuff out loud makes me feel like I'm insane. I just feel like I'm crazy.
It actually like it works better for me. So I feel that it improves every week for me. The thing about the show for me so far is I have no idea what gonna come next, and I feel like we have like many familiar pieces. So we have like a main guy with amnesia, and even like on the other character has like their own tropes, their own typical tropes. But then again, the way the show use all these things actually make it a bit fresh for me.
Uh,
So that's
and
in a good way for me.
that's kind of how I felt after the premiere.
All
And
right.
I out of the 10 series that we watched, I put it fourth.
Good.
I rated it fairly highly.
I put it night.
Right. And now I kind of feel as though I should have put it in ninth. I mean, I still think the first episode was pretty intriguing.
Uh-huh.
But for example, the stuff near the start of episode 3 with the cat and the dog,
All right.
you know what I'm talking about?
Now, the cat with the dog.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'm not recall any scene of that. Tell
Okay.
me more.
After
Yep.
um there after the gigantic Nico Sensei, which is supposed
Uh-huh.
to be his spaceship, I think.
Yep. Yep.
A giant one appears and it swallows all the Nebula
Oh,
soldiers.
yeah. I remember that now. So
Yeah, and
they
then so Soya is inside its stomach or just
yep.
somewhere inside of it, I guess, and he sees the debate between the dog and Neko
Sensei.
Sensei, who
Yep.
represent two different factions of Nebula.
Mm-hmm.
With the dog representing the sealing faction, they want to like seal humanity away,
Mm-hmm.
so they can't evolve anymore because that's going to be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And then Neko Sensei and the maid, I guess, they represent the pacifist faction. They want to see humans evolve to choose love instead of combat ability
Mm-hmm.
or something. And the
Yep.
dog is voiced by Norio Wakamoto for some reason.
All right. You know what's the name of the dog?
What the dog's name is, I do
Yep.
not remember.
All right. That's the name of the dog is His Excellency.
Okay, so he's like the emperor of Nebula.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Yep. I'm
Okay.
still. Yep. I'm still listening.
I don't
So.
have I don't have much else to say. I mean, I really felt like episode 4 especially was a clusterfuck. It the entire thing was combat related. At the very least, episode 1 had some stuff with him at the, and I mean, I can't believe I'm even about to say this because I hate high school anime,
Yep.
but at least episodes 1 and 3 had some stuff going on at the school where you
Mm-hmm.
could get a sense of who Soya was as an individual and not a mask wearing puppet
Yep.
of this weirdo maid and cat who are completely unrelatable characters and whose motivations we can't possibly understand.
That's the thing about the show because we don't understand most of all the characters' motivations. So even like for the heroes, for the hero side, which I think the name of them is the Grand Paladin.
Yeah.
We don't actually know their true motive. We don't actually know about Shoya motive either. He said that he want to avenge for his planet, but we don't know for sure, and we as hell don't know anything about um, Sensei, the cat Sensei, Neko Sensei,
Yeah.
or his excellency's plan. So yeah, so the whole thing, I'm thinking it's just like they a faggot of everything so far. So they're gonna be something like much deeper now. They're gonna twist something around, and for that fact, I'm waiting for that to
And
happen.
I I thought this episode was terribly directed.
Yeah,
Do you remember the scene where the maid, like the
yeah,
you know how the pink-haired girl is, she kind of functions as the emotional core of this episode. The big flashback that we get is of her and the orange-haired girl. I don't remember their names and I don't care, so I didn't
yeah.
look them up.
All right.
Do you know their names?
Yeah. One of them is Mio, and the other one is Harumi.
Okay, which
So
one is which?
Mio is the short girl who
The
want
pink
to be
with the pink
strong
hair.
with the pink hair, and
Okay.
Harumi is the other one.
So Mio is kind of functioning as the emotional core of the episode because Harumi is like the girl who she looks up to and her protector,
Mm-hmm.
and she gets swallowed up by the dragon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She gets like consumed by the dragon energy in the vial that all the Grand Paladins wear. So
Mm-hmm.
when that happens, then Mio's goal, her purpose, is to rescue her friend. To bring her back somehow.
Yep.
So the moment where the maid, like the green-haired maid who
Mm-hmm.
Soya lives with, when
Yep.
she comes down from the big Neko Sensei spaceship, she
Mm-hmm.
like floats down
Mm-hmm.
and takes Mio by the hand and like brings her back up.
Yep.
That should have been like a pivotal moment of the episode, because when that happens, it's the maid is like giving her a chance, giving her the ability to snap her friend out of it,
Yeah.
and for the two of them to come back together. But
Mm-hmm.
the way the show presented that to us visually was just like terrible.
All right.
We got shots of her, like her feet leaving the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and then just like a still cell of her like kind of moving closer to a still background, and then she grabs the girl's hand, and then they take off, and then when the camera repositions itself, she's already midway there, back to the cat spaceship.
Yep.
What am I like? I feel like I'm losing my mind talking about this series. But anyway, that moment should have been like really big, and the camera should have been trained on the characters, and it should have been framed in a way that like was kind of, there were even strings playing in the background. Like it should have been kind of full of wonderment. She should have been amazed and like overjoyed, thankful that she's being given this opportunity, and like anticipating the fact that she can save her friend. But none of that was communicated. It was just flat, lifeless, dull, not
All
even
right.
not even contiguous.
All right. Because the whole thing I take from that scene you just talk about is like how weird it is, and it weird yet it is. So yes,
It
I
needs
I I
The
don't take much
emotion
of
still
like
needs to
the
be present. The emotion
well.
still needs to be present in the scene, and it wasn't there.
All right. One more thing I want to talk about though is you remember like all these Grand Paladin members have to
Yeah.
face their own flashback, their own memories, and then
Uh,
they have to suppress them uh,
that was the theme in episodes. Uh,
from episode 1 to now.
yeah, but episode 4, we actually saw what's his name, Nezuya.
Yep.
We saw him in that bizarre dream sequence at the start of
Yep.
episode 4 because he was
Mm-hmm.
inside one of those nebula weapons or soldiers, whatever they're called,
Yep.
and he had this weird like trope mashup of a dream where he's got a big-breasted older stepsister and he can choose to go between two doors. One of them there'll be schoolgirls who love him, and in the other door there'll be like more schoolgirls who love him. What was the
And
deal with that? That didn't seem to me to be consistent with the dreams that people have when they go inside those nebula things.
yeah, well, it's more. I think it's more about the psychology inside of the characters. So like all the memories supposed to be like what they care about most, what they what yeah, what they thinking about. So I think it does represent something of that guy.
Yeah, that he's
That
totally shallow.
yeah, but the thing is, unlike other members, he actually surrendered to the dream,
Right.
and then we see like he actually just pass out, and I don't know if the show say it in the end, but he probably be fine
Yeah, probably.
after a good sleep. So I'm just wonder what the deal with all this, like all this dream, all these things that memories that and fantasy that all these members have to go through. Is that supposed to be something that they have to cut off? They have to repress, or is that they supposed to be a thing that they need to embrace? So that
It's something they're supposed to get past. For
is it. Is
for
it? Is it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, think about I can't remember the name of the first guy, but think about what he had to do. He had to like say
Mm-hmm.
goodbye to his mom, who he couldn't save.
That's that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing about Planet Whip because we don't know the intent. So we're not really sure what that's supposed to be.
We're
I
not
don't
s-
think
we're
I
not
don't
sure
think
anything
this
is
guy.
supposed to be.
That's right. I don't think this guy's supposed to be like repressed on the dream. So it's just the way that the show function, but we don't know for sure if if that is that its true intention.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Well,
So
my
basically everything we watch so far it isn't necessary, like it's just on the surface. On the surface. That's what I'm getting at.
okay. Um. All right.
So
Well,
yes, I'm still intriguing by the show so far. I still want to know what all the heck is about because I know we're gonna get the clear answers, like in the end of the series when everything start to make sense. When it start to get from weird to weirder but make sense.
I don't want to watch another episode of this.
Right.
I thought this was like forget about the fact that we don't understand what's going on yet.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there are hundreds of anime series like that.
Yep.
More than any other kind of television that I've ever watched.
Mm-hmm.
Anime, especially older anime, is willing to just throw you into the middle of something and like
Mm-hmm.
force you to either adapt or die, like figure it out.
Yep.
But putting aside the fact that we don't understand what's going on yet, I think that this show is ugly. I think the CG was at its worst point in this episode, probably because the entire thing was CG, because it was all about the combat,
Mm-hmm.
like from start to end.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the techno babble, I'm losing her psychic connection, and the dragon's totally swallowing her up. I've lost contact. I think that that is just like a way to fill time and
Yeah.
signifies nothing.
All
I
right.
think that the goofy stuff about like the hangover humor when they were in midair and they're gonna eat that can
Yeah.
and
Well.
it's gonna give you a hangover. I thought that was like I I I thought it was dumb. I just think this. I think it's badly directed. I think it's incoherent. I think that all the characters are like thin as something that's really thin.
Yeah.
I
Just
don't know.
paper.
Yeah,
Thin paper.
I'm not watching another episode.
All right. That's what we get, I suppose, when we change from Grand Blue to Planet Weird. So we still have someone with the hangovers.
Yeah, I definitely have. I feel like I got a hangover right now.
All right. So then we gonna pick another show to watch then.
I guess.
All right. Because just telling you, I agree with the CG. The CG was really bad. It just doesn't clash very well with the rest of the show.
And the sound design. You know what I really
Yeah.
hate is when there's like a big collision or an explosion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Those really bass heavy reverberating sounds that like the
Yep.
bone crunching sounds that anime is going for.
Yep.
This was a trend that was started, I think, by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure
Oh, right.
in 2012 when David Production did their most recent adaptation of that manga.
Yep.
Um, that was the kind of sound that they used for the combat.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated it then, and I hate it now. I hate that it's become a trend because it's not just JoJo and Planet With that do this. You hear it all over, like 5
Mm-hmm.
shows a season probably,
Yep.
and it's terrible. There's just so many things to hate.
It's so many things to intriguing about.
I don't think we're gonna see eye to eye on this one.
All right. So for me, Planet With is still a very amusing watch. I will follow that until the end to see like what the heck all of this was about. I don't really care about the characters because the characters is supposed to be like kind of trophy, and they kind of subvert the trophy a little bit, but still they don't stand out. They really like two dimensionals. But the plot, I'm down to see what gonna happen. So
Right.
yes, you're gonna see me do the short review at the end.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Uh, all right. Let's get to the next show then. Let's get to Sirut the Jagger.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you think about these episodes?
Are you ready for more complaining?
All right. I'm ready. I'm ready for every complaining from you.
Awesome. The first half of the episode was trash
Right.
because
Why?
it was all about that investigator, like the
Mm-hmm.
cop or whatever he is
Yep.
with the black hair.
All right. His name is Iba.
Iba. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we get like 10 minutes of him going around the city and talking to people and investigating and stuff. And at the end
Mm-hmm.
of all that, he says out loud, "What exactly are Alma Company and V Shipping trying to do in this country?"
Mm-hmm.
Which is ridiculous because if we're going to follow around a police character who's investigating things for 10 minutes, that's what we as the audience should be learning. We should be learning what Alma Company and V Shipping are trying to do. We should see you make some progress. We shouldn't go through all of that and then have you put a bow on it at the end by saying, "Oh, gee, I wonder what they're trying to do." You should be figuring it out. You're a cop.
Yeah. Well, at least in this episode, the cop side almost catch up with the event that we have so far. Almost.
What do you mean? Because he's on the train with everyone else at the end?
Uh, Now because he actually get to the main point now. He not like screwing around, like looking for some serial killer that we know didn't exist. He know
Oh,
about like all these secret organization and all these dark scheme that they doing on these conspiracies.
uh, I don't think so. That's why he says, "What are Alma Company and V Shipping trying to do?" Not, "What are the vampires and the
Well,
Jaegers trying to do?"
still he on a good track. He on the right track there.
He should have gotten off this track, changed trains, gotten on a new track, and figured it out. Just every, it's just a waste of time following him. I want to know about Yuri,
All
whatever.
right. Yep. All right. How about the second half?
I don't know. Second half was okay. I like the brother. I thought he
Yep.
was cool in the flashback last week. I still like his design.
Mm.
I the one thing that has me coming back to this show is the potential for there to be a like an interesting relationship between Yuri and whatever his brother's name is. I forget.
Mikhail.
Mikhail. That's right.
Yeah.
Um, because you remember when when Yuri and Dorothea
Yep.
are about to leave on the train.
Yep.
He thinks to himself, "This might be an opportunity for me to see my brother."
Yeah, that's right. I actually find that scene is like the most powerful scenes that this show have so far.
Yeah. Well,
Just,
I
just
think the most powerful was probably him meeting his brother at the end of episode 2
mm,
because that came out of like nowhere and it we didn't know that he had a brother at all and it hits us.
mm.
But yeah, I that was the bit of this episode that got me, that
Or
like brought my attention totally back to what was going on instead of me thinking about like what am I gonna have for dinner.
all right. How do you think about the relationship between Yuli and that girl
Who
Ryoko?
cares? Snore.
She actually act very obvious,
Yeah.
which
You mean
kind
when
of
she
cute.
comes by, the office at the start and she's like,
W-
"Is Yuri
Yeah,
here?"
I mean the whole episode where she doing that, where she trying to eat like a proper girl, when she try to buy a bento for him, knowing that he going with a girl, and she still bought like two of the bentos.
Yeah.
How about
And then she
that?
changes trains.
Yeah, and she changed the train. Didn't have any money left.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I
so
mean, yeah, you're right. Her character was charming enough in this episode.
well,
I don't
see, yep. See, get
I
into
don't
me now.
I don't want to be too negative. It's
All
hard
right,
to quash that impulse sometimes. But yeah,
nah,
she was fine. She was
all
better in
right.
this episode, I think, than she has been before.
Mhm. My general impression for the episodes, I think it's getting better. The show getting better. It's still a very plot-oriented series, which I don't really like, and they introduce more characters and events, who- which for me feel very rubbish. But like the level of production is still very outstanding. I feel like I'm watching like a TV like a movie quality of production here.
Hmm.
So like I still like on the music. You like the music of the show?
I could not hum you a tune from this series. It does not
No.
stand out to me. I know
Uh,
last week you commented on the OP. I said I didn't remember it. So this
yep.
week, I watched the whole thing, and
You
I
like it?
still I couldn't hum like one bar.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds very J Rock to me. I think I've heard stuff like this before.
Yep. All right. I still like the music. I still like the animations and the character design. So I'm basically like the look of the show.
Yeah,
The
that's what you've been saying for weeks.
that's right because I have nothing else to say.
Well, what about the we've kind of learned in this episode that there's conflict within the vampire
Oh yes.
organization, I guess, or within the vampiric race, however you want to phrase it. Because we've
Yeah.
got Yevgraf, who
Mm-hmm.
wants to find the Sirius arc, the arc of Sirius,
Yep.
and then we
Mm-hmm.
have Kirshner, who's the main vampire who we mostly follow, and
Mm-hmm.
he's the one who's associated with that mad scientist and who wants to achieve immortality via like how he kidnapped all the doctors and all the ones who were interested in like mechanical body
Artificial.
parts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm. Uh-huh.
Um, so there's kind of a science versus faith
Yeah.
element.
So I'm pretty sure the next episode, because we have the title of the next episode, that will be about that monster. That's mech, artificial mechanical monster.
Right.
The name of the next episode is like the new Frankenstein.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
and I think it has some relation between like the old classic Frankenstein and zombie and vampire. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean the very last shot of the episode was panning up the the body of that monstrosity.
Yep. Hmm.
So it'll factor into the next episode in a big way. Probably, Yuri will have to fight against it.
Yep. For 1 or 2 episodes. Who
Not more
cares?
than one, I hope.
That monster gonna die the way you usually gonna win. You usually will win at the end of the day.
Uh,
Having a girl, maybe having his brother back. We all know the story.
you don't think there's the potential for this show to go like to kill its main character by the end?
No, I don't think so. I think he have to kill his brother by the end, and that's like the most risk thing this show gonna go.
Yeah.
I don't think they gonna kill any of our main characters.
Yeah, you're probably right. A show like this with character designs this dumb, it
Mm.
can't possibly have the guts to actually kill them off. It's probably so enamored with their stupid outfits that it's like, oh no, we can't kill them because then they won't be able to wear these clothes anymore.
I just love the way you tear the show apart, man.
Oh, you know what? Here's something nice I can say about it. When I
Uh,
said that the entire first half was like irredeemable,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like throw it in a fire, I forgot about the cold open with the leader of the Hyako party, like the ninja guy
Oh
with the
yeah,
metal
yeah, yeah.
headband, how he
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
betrays the vampire and kills him.
Yep, yep, yep.
When that happened, I was kind of interested in the fact that the show was actually throwing a wrench into the plot that it had established for itself. And I was like, okay, yeah, bring in like a new faction, and let's make this like a three-way fight for dominance rather than just
All right.
like. But then
Because
but
yep.
then we cut away from him, and then we spent 9 minutes following the cop, watching him do nothing.
All right. Because of that fraction is that Hiyako party
Yeah, they're
is
the ones who want to bring things back to the Showa era and like kick
yeah.
out all the non-Japanese people.
Yep. I think I personally think that that party is like a dead weight for me. So I don't enjoy them at all. I think they are just some kind of like fillers. They gonna come, they gonna put on some show, and then they gonna be put off
What,
in
killed
in
by
later.
all the vampires probably?
Yep. or
Yeah.
or maybe by Ulyss, but I think the vampires. So yeah, I think they are dead weight.
Yeah. Well, they certainly won't be stealing the spotlight from anybody.
Mm.
They're not gonna, we're not gonna see the Jaegers disappear
All
and
right.
then they'll take over. But I like the attitude that the main guy had, and the fact that there was some actual like an exchange of words that actually mattered, that had
Mm-hmm.
consequences for one character,
Yep.
rather than some guy in a trench coat walking all over town talking to people and making vague insinuations that he knew more than he was letting on. But then later, gee, I wonder what these two companies are trying to do in Japan.
You know what? We have 3 shows so far, and you just only enjoy one, and you piece of two, and we're only at episode 4. So let's see.
Yeah, I don't like anime. I hate
no,
it.
no, you like the piece of anime.
I am not
Do
enjoying.
you?
I mean, I was I was okay with this episode of Jaeger. I already know that. Hello?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I already know that the cop is just a big time sucker. I understand that that's part of how the show functions. It wants to have like its investigative and political aspects to it. I don't respect it. I don't think that it's pulled off with even like a modicum of like authenticity.
Yep.
But I know that it's coming every week.
Yep.
So and I can get past it because I do like, I like the fights. I like
Mm-hmm.
a few of the characters,
And you like the
and
products. Yep.
yeah, and in this season that's enough to get me to keep watching.
All right. Let's get to the final show
Okay.
of the current seasons to see if you like it or you piss at it. So we have the new episode 5 of Banana Fish.
Yeah.
All right, how you think about these episodes, my
I
man?
thought. Oh, you want to know?
Yes, I do.
I thought it was all right.
All right.
I thought it was fine. I
Mm,
like Shorter. I think Shorter is really
yep.
cool. I
I
wish I wish that it were Ash and Shorter, not Ash and AG, who were the main duo.
I actually want the main duo between Ash and and Max.
Okay.
I I think they develop quite a like a strong chemistry together.
I'm still like kind of disappointed or mad about how like
How
how quickly their relationship
form
changed in
change. Yep.
in prison. I think that was like all over the place, and so that's kind of left a stain on their interactions now that they're both out.
All right.
For me, but I agree. I like Max more than AG. I like Shorter more than AG.
Mm.
I think I probably like Ibe-san, the
Yep.
Japanese reporter. I think I probably like him more than AG. This was actually, how you've been saying all along that you think AG is not like carrying his weight as a character.
Yep.
He's This is the episode where I actually really felt that for the first time.
Hmm.
So I definitely agree with you about that now more than ever.
All right. For me personally, I still feel that this episodes run really fast, pacing wise.
Yeah, I think
So
it's going to be like that for every single episode. I think that's just the way it is because they're trying to get
right,
through the entire manga.
it feels rushed some of the time, but the way the show does. So this episode we basically have Ash revenge to Papadino, which is by itself a very good plot.
You thought that was
The
good?
I thought that was good. I thought the very idea of he trying to shoot Papadino down.
While standing on top of a moving truck.
Yes, and he nearly hit him just because of some goddamn guy who was hit him in behind. What his name? Um, I don't even remember his name.
Who are you
Arthur,
talking about?
the guy,
The blonde
the
guy?
the blonde guy.
Yeah, Arthur.
So yeah, and I
Okay,
actually
do you remember the scene where they're in Chinatown and Ash is talking to Shorter's boss, Mr. Lee,
yep. Mm-hmm.
like the head of the Chinese
Yeah.
mafia or the Chinese
Si-
syndicate?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he says, "We're gonna need a truck."
Yep.
Why on earth would you need a truck to carry out an assassination? Why would you need to stand on top of a truck and drive
The
towards him while yelling his name to shoot him?
you
Go
know
inside of a building, stick a rifle out of a window or whatever, and blow his head off.
because the truck is high enough to him in order to shoot Papadino.
So is a window in a building. Go into a building. Walk up some
Then
stairs.
the building can move, so he have to move like closer to Papadino in order to shoot him.
Go into go into the building across the street from. They paid so much lip service to that club, like the human trafficking club, where like influential guys come and they I don't know, they do whatever they
Yep.
do. I don't want to
Yep.
get into it. It's disgusting.
Mhm.
But okay, so if that's a fixed location, right? That's where he goes. Every 15th of the month he goes to that club. Go across the street. This is New York City. Everything is designed in blocks. It's not as though this building is in the middle of a park or in the middle of nowhere. Go across the street, walk up the steps, go into some dude's apartment, like knock him unconscious, stick your gun out the window and shoot Papadino.
You know,
Kill him.
that's actually what Arthur does.
Yes, Arthur has some common sense.
you,
He knows what's going on. He knows how to shoot somebody. You
you,
wait for them. You don't stay on top of a moving truck.
and you know the whole idea of the movie truck. Because I find it very funny because not how it's done, but you know, like how they gonna escape. You know, because after Ash gonna shoot Dino, then what?
Then they
They
drive
got
away.
they gonna drive away because you know, like the idea of jumping into some rivers or some river, it's just a very halfback idea. Like, let's
Yeah.
jump into the river. Oh yes, we can. Let's do
Well, the
it. And then
jumping into the river wasn't even their getaway plan. That's just how it
that
happened because they
that's why, yes.
like an army of guys came chasing after them because they were so obvious in their attempt to kill Dino.
So I don't really know, how this plan work for real, but hey,
But
it's
hey, it
it's
didn't make a lick of sense.
it's entertaining.
Is this the Code Geass standard? It
Yeah,
doesn't need to make sense as long as like something cool is happening on screen.
that's right.
Uh,
Oh my god.
I mean, I thought it was completely nonsensical, but you know, Shorter saved the episode with his purple mohawk and his eyebrow piercing.
Yeah,
He's just so cool. Everything he does is so cool.
I actually like I didn't think about it before, but he apparently from he an Asian guy
Yeah.
because of his sister, because he from Chinatown, and because of he, you know, like disguising himself as a Chinese man like normally.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's a pretty good idea, you know, like the way that, you know, to put some more ethnic people into, you know, American population. I think his character is like one of the best characters, save
Well,
for Ash.
we've known that he's Chinese since episode 1. His name is Shorter Wong.
Oh, is it? I
Yeah.
didn't know about that. I didn't even notice that. Hmm.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
it's made clear in the first episode as well that the gang he's affiliated with is Chinese.
Not the gang that he's staying. Remember that all the guys that come with him, they're all from different background. They're all black and white people actually.
Right, but they're part of the
Chinese gang.
Chinatown gang, yeah,
All right.
which is made up of just various people from the area, I guess, New York, whatever hoodlums are hanging about. I don't know.
Interesting because I went to the New York Chinatown before.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool place.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know the things that we actually have like many all the Chinatowns that stay in the center of the city. Did I tell you about that before?
No. What are you talking about? What do you mean we have? Who's we?
All right, so like in the world, actually
Oh
like
yeah.
in every big cities, we will have like Chinatown like right in the middle, like in the center of the city. I'm
Yeah, the
talking
one that
about.
I go to the most is in Philadelphia because I go up there every year to
All
see
right,
friends of mine.
yeah, and is that the Chinatown there is in the center of Philadelphia?
I don't know if it's in the center or not, but I know that the food there is pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
All right, I'm gonna take you to some Chinatown if we ever, you know, like meet each other.
If you ever come to the States.
If you ever come to Australia.
I don't know what cause I would have to go to Australia. I'm sure it is a lovely place. Maybe one day.
Holiday. Just come for
Maybe.
holiday.
I I don't go on vacation.
All
My
right.
family's on vacation right now. I
Mm,
am working.
nice. All right. Before we got chat, I just finished what I talked about the Chinatown.
Oh
So
yeah.
I heard about a tale about the how they make the whole community in the Chinatown in New York. and that was interesting because in the 1960, that Chinatown was still the Indian little Italy.
Little Italy.
Yep. And then one of the Chinese come to buy to bought a shop there, and later, like 10 years later, like only Chinese people come and it's become Chinatown. Just
Hmm.
easy at that. So
That's a
I
seems like a bit of
reckon,
a mystery how that would happen.
yeah. So I reckon that's happened the same to every other country. So we have big Chinatown in the middle of Paris. We have Chinatown in Sydney. We have Chinatown in, I think, in London, like in the middle of London as well. So basically, Chinatown is in the middle of everywhere, in the heart of the centers.
Hmm.
That's interesting. All right, let's talk about let's talk back about banana fish.
Is there anything else to say other than Ash tried to assassinate Papadino while crouching on the top of a moving truck? Is there anything
Um,
else to say?
I know actually, he failed, but
That
else.
that's true.
Oh, so next time they're gonna move to LA, hopefully.
No, they said they're
Now.
going to Cape Cod.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
in New
that's
York.
right. So that place where Ash and his brothers live before. That's their hometown.
Right. Yeah, and there are going to be photos or letters or something there that Max is hope. And Max is out of prison now, by the way. How did that happen?
Just a flick of finger like this.
Yeah, just with a wave of a magic wand. They
Yeah.
actually the episode never. I like went back through it. The episode never says how he gets out. I mean,
No.
he has that friend who manages to get Ash out
Yep.
on bail or whatever he does.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but so he's obviously friends with that guy. Maybe he was able to pull some strings somehow and get
Hmm.
out. Did we ever even learn what he was in jail for?
Yep. He was at he was punched a police, I think.
He punched a cop. Okay.
Yeah, and he was in jail for that. I'm not really sure if that is the case, but yeah, he mentioned that once.
Okay.
That he
Well,
got drunk and he punched the police.
maybe he just got that sentence commuted or
Yep.
or whatever. I mean, he knows that guy, so I'm assuming that's how he got out. But the episode never lets us know for sure. He just appears and he's
Hmm.
out of prison,
Yep.
and now they're going to a new location.
Yep. Which is a nice change of scenes, and I think we're gonna get to know more about Ash in this episodes in the next episodes.
Yeah, if we're going to his hometown, his
Yep.
childhood house, probably
So
so.
I'm looking for that. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Never forget that Ash Lynx tried to assassinate Papadino while crouching on top of a moving truck. Never forget.
That's cool. That's totally cool. This show is cool, man.
It is. It is
I'm,
cool.
I feel like I'm in the middle of like summer season, up fall season where it's like on the wind and I feel cool.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. All right. If we don't have anything to talk about Panafish, let's get to Nadia's secret of blue water.
Let's get to it. Let's
All
do it.
right. You have any more complaint of Nadia this week?
Well, that's an interesting question because if this show were airing weekly, like if it were
Yep.
1990 and
Mm-hmm.
I was watching this week to week, I
Yep.
am sure that I would complain about it.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Because the show kind of takes a turn around
Mm-hmm.
episode 23.
Yep.
Um, and if I had to wait 7 days to watch a new episode, I'm sure I would be like, "What is this? I don't
Mm-hmm.
like this." But I was actually like I think episode 25 was kind of lame, but apart from that, I was all right with the start of the filler arc or the filler,
Mm-hmm.
section, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And what came before was pretty gripping as well.
I I personally think that episode 21 and 22 was the show best.
Think so?
So yeah, I think so. So like it raised the stake. It
Oh yeah, it raised them really high and then proceeded to drop them. into
Yeah,
the ocean.
that's right. That's right. That's exactly what happened. And now that I think about it, Electra betrayal in bracket, um, it actually nonsensical as well. The
You think
way
it's
that
nonsensical?
the the way that she does, the way that she actually like info dump on the information that we need to hear,
Right.
and Nadia need to hear. The way that like she feel insecure about her position towards Nemo,
Hmm.
but the way she actually like try to shoot him because of that is way too nonsensical. I
I don't agree.
All right, tell me about that.
I don't I mean I'm not sure what there is to tell. I don't think it's nonsensical at all. I think that she's an unstable person.
So
We've known since we met her that though she is you know like straightforward and logical and kind-hearted in
yep,
general, she's also consumed with the desire for revenge more than anyone else on the ship. We've known that about her for a long time.
yep,
So this is the part of her that we saw in episode 21 and 22. This is the part of her that she keeps hidden.
all right.
And it
So,
came out when Nemo demonstrated an unwillingness to kill Gargoyle when he had the perfect opportunity.
so that's the tipping point.
Yes, because what she was really angry. I mean, there are many things that she's angry about and upset her.
Mm-hmm.
But she what she blames him for at the end is not blowing up the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She says, "Why did?" She changes her language. Like in episode 21, she says, "In order to kill Gargoyle, we need to scuttle the submarine." In episode
Mm-hmm.
22, her language changes, and she says, "Why didn't you scuttle yourself?
Mm-hmm. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you kill yourself?" So that's a reflection of the fact that she's angry at Nemo for his hand in the destruction of Atlantis,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
where she was. I mean, we like you said, there was an info dump. We got so much information about the destruction of Atlantis and who Electra was. She was a girl who
Mm-hmm.
she's an Atlantean,
Mm-hmm.
and her all her parents died. So that's what she's truly angry about. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that her anger at Nemo's refusal to kill, and this isn't even the only time, right, that he refused to kill Gargoyle because of Nadia. There was an earlier instance,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I can't remember exactly what it was.
That's right. I don't remember either.
There was another time when he had the option of either pursuing Gargoyle or
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Um, is it? Yeah, that's the time. Is it? That's the time where some of them get sick. Because
oh yes,
of the what it called tropical disease.
yes, and Nadia is one of them. It's Nadia and
Yep.
Marie
Yep. Mm-hmm.
who
That's
get
right.
sick.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, and so he takes the opportunity to go to that go to that undersea cave and get
Mm-hmm.
the seaweed or the coral, something that they need
Yep.
for the
Yep.
cure.
Mm-hmm.
And Electra, even then in that episode, I think I'm remembering now, it's episode 14. Even then, Electra is like furious with him
Mm-hmm.
because of that decision.
Yep. That's right.
So I think her anger makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yep.
the shooting, that's obviously a very drastic measure, but I don't think it's totally unbelievable.
And the flashback was actually very well done. The
Oh,
way that
did you
yeah
like
the
the art?
yeah I like the strip down art. I liked all these. Oh, I basically like all the things about the flashback.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
Yep.
knowing what I know about Gynax Productions, I know that that was not just an artistic choice. I'm sure that they were like way
Yeah.
behind on their deadline and they'd already used up too much money because that studio has never been good about budgeting their time or their funds.
Ooh.
Um, but I do think that they make it work in
They
general.
well that like one of the spotlight for me. So yes, it worked very well.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's the fact that it's mostly in like black and white with some yellow in there as well.
Mm.
I mean, it makes sense because Atlantis gets destroyed. It gets
Mm.
reduced to rubble, basically. So the fact that they would use that limited color palette is appropriate.
All right. So what happened like 13 years ago was that Gargoyles he activate the Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
It disrupt everything, and then Nemo have to get the blue water out of that in order to deactivate the Babel. Is that right? And that caused on the flooding and stuff.
Yeah. So that's the part that that's the only part that made me think why is Elektra going so why is she going so nuts?
Yeah.
Um, because it's not as though it's Nemo's like grand plan to activate the Tower of Babel.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to stop it, and he pulls the blue water out,
Yep.
which causes it to like short circuit.
Uh huh.
So it's not as though Nemo was like once evil and villainous and had the design to take over the world or create a super weapon.
That's right.
He was trying to avert that, but accidentally he causes the destruction of his city.
Yeah.
Um, did they say that he was a king?
No, they didn't say he was a king, did they?
Doesn't Elektra say that you caused the death of your queen?
Yeah. Yeah, I think she did say that.
So that would make him
Mm.
a king, right?
I, I'm just pretty sure that the new prince, uh,
Neo, Emperor Neo.
yeah, I think he is Nadia brothers.
Yes, I agree. So that wouldn't that make him Nemo's son as well?
Yeah, that make him Nemo's son. Yeah, and he
Yeah.
actually tried to kill Nemo. Actually tried to kill him.
Nemo tried
Gargoyles
to kill
and him.
Neo.
Yep, Gargoyles and him
Oh
and
yes,
Neo.
yeah, yeah. So I'm pretty sure at this point that Gargoyle is an uncle. He's
Yep.
Nemo's older brother, based on the
I
hologram.
Yep. I think that's hologram is like the whole main people's
Yeah,
main characters in there.
yeah.
Which I don't think that's the appearance of the new a new prince now is appropriate. Like we actually just know like a few episodes ago that Nadia has a brother, but we didn't know that the existence of the whole kingdom, the whole prince that Gargoyles have to serve.
I think it makes sense that he's introduced now because what Gargoyle really wants is power,
Yep.
and he wants to achieve it legitimately. We got that scene in I think episode 20 last week where there's all that nonsense about him like
Yeah.
infiltrating
Yep.
a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
governments and controlling 80% of the world's economy.
Yep.
So he wants power legitimately. He wants to
Mm-hmm.
create weapons and work his way into things on a global scale. So in addition to wanting power that way, he also wants to rule Atlantis
Mm-hmm.
legitimately. So that's why he needs to rely on his nephew, Neo,
Yep.
who was the emperor of Atlantis. So
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense that Neo is there
Yep.
to me, like from the perspective of Gargoyle's character.
Mm-hmm.
What's really interesting to me about Neo is the fact that whenever his head moved, we
Mm-hmm.
heard those mechanical like gear sounds.
Oh, I didn't notice that. All right.
So I'm pretty sure that Neo is dead.
Artificial.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's dead or like near death, and he's being
Mm-hmm.
sustained by a machine.
Mm-hmm.
And Gargoyle is keeping him alive so that eventually he can, like through Neo, he can rule Atlantis.
Yeah. Maybe that's why that Neo Nemo tried to kill his son as well
Maybe
because
I wonder if he even knows that his son is with Gargoyle.
alive. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
All right.
because when you see him in the flashback in episode 22 when everything is like grayscale,
Yep.
when you see him with his party of like a few people and they find Elektra and they take her in, I don't
Mm.
think Neo is with them. So in all the confusion, I imagine that he doesn't know what happened to his son,
Mm. All right.
or maybe he does. Maybe has come to terms with the fact that he needs to kill him. That could even be a contributing factor to why he has twice refused to kill Gargoyle. Not just that he wanted to prioritize Nadia's safety, but that he knows that his son is with him.
Mhm. All
But
right.
I'm just speculating about that.
And there is apparently some time skip at the end. So we know that they leave the kids to his cabin and to put them safely. But like in episode 25, we see um Yagois like paying tribute
Right.
to Nemo Dad, and to that, is he actually really dead, or is that like some off screen event that happened that without us knowing?
I don't think he's dead because the narrator, you know how they're before when you boot up a new episode, there's the theme song and then there's like the previously on
Yep,
Nadia Secret of Blue Water segment.
yep.
In episode 23, I think it is.
I, I skip on the narrator actually.
Okay.
So yes,
The
tell me
narrator
about that.
says that he floats off mysteriously, blah blah blah
Oh,
blah into the depths. I don't think he's dead. No,
all right.
we
Mm.
don't see him die, and you know, I
Yeah,
mean,
and
obviously the show could go in that direction. If it
I don't think
did
so
episode,
myself.
you don't think so?
I don't think so myself. It's we're talking about anime logic, so unless we see someone die on screen, they don't die.
Even then, they might come back.
Yeah, even then, yes.
I mean, we've got Emperor Neo. I'm pretty sure that like his corpse might be reanimated or something. If you go
Hmm.
back and you watch that scene, you hear like the clicking of gears when his head turns.
All right.
Um, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that he's dead. But this show it's possible that it could go in that direction because if it did episode 15,
Hmm.
um, with the guy's fate and the other two crew members dying horribly in that essentially like gas chamber,
Hmm.
then
Yep.
it can do anything.
Yep. And I actually think that this turn of events speak to the main theme of Nadia Secret of Blue Water about the first is the use of technology that you talked about last week. If if you intend to do it evilly, it's become evil. If you do it right, it become right. And the responsibility that those people have. So usually they some of them like Nemo, they try to atone his past by continue to live on, and yeah, and basically try to atone that. So that I think is the main theme of the show.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
now, all right, are we done with the first two episodes? Because I want to talk about the next three, the
I
fillers
I think there's
episodes.
lots more. There's lots more that we could talk about for the first two.
Yep, we,
Um,
we can talk
I
more about
don't
that.
I don't know how much we should because obviously we have to get into the filler bits.
All right,
Um,
I don't think we have a lot to talk about the filler bit though. I just have like one or two things.
I do want to mention like I was really negative about a few of the seasonal series that we're
Yep.
talking about. I just want to like sing the praises of episode 21,
All right.
which is that's the one where the Nautilus is finally ensnared in Gargoyle's trap
Yep.
with like the magnet
Yep.
and the big laser beams and when they're underwater the missiles and all that stuff. Like
Yeah. Mhm.
that's such a when you can summarize that conflict in like one or two sentences.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, just if you were thinking in terms of what happens on screen and in the story.
Yep.
But the show draws it out and makes an entire episode out of it, and it's totally appropriate.
Mhm.
If the show were made in 2018, it would get a 12 episode order. Everything that
Yep.
happened in episode 21 would probably happen in 10 minutes,
Yep.
and
But
it would look totally boring, and
the
I
pacing
just
will be
wouldn't
too
care.
quick. Yep. That's right.
But
It,
this show has, I mean, obviously it kind of takes a turn as I mentioned earlier, and as we're about to talk about.
Hmm.
But the show gives itself time to really stretch those conflicts out, and especially to put its put the camera in the characters' faces as it's
Hmm.
happening, so we understand how it's affecting them because they're the people who we care about. Like I don't understand how other series can miss the importance of keeping everything grounded by putting the camera in people's faces. I
Mm,
don't understand it.
all right.
But
I think
this show doesn't make that mistake. It understands what to do.
I I actually kind of get it because in live actions, you can rely on the face of the actors to convey the emotions the character have. But in animation, it's harder to do that.
Oh,
So
for sure.
most of the show try to avoid that the nuance of impressions. So that's
I don't
why.
I don't think that the difficulty of animating emotion and facial expression is an excuse to shy away from it. I think you still have to do it. And voice
That's
acting
right.
plays a big part in bringing the characters to life as well.
That's right.
So
Yep.
you animate their expressions, you draw their faces as best you can, you let the voice actors do their thing, and you create characters in a story that are going to matter to people, and
Hmm.
you just even just showing the character with a pained expression on their face or with a joyful one or a sad one, even just showing them in a still at the
Hmm.
right time in a like pivotal moment or a moment of action, it can be enough. And it was in episode 21
Hmm.
as the ship was being like ripped apart by the magnet, and we saw
Yep.
like the hull cracking and all that stuff. We got plenty of shots of that, but then we went inside to the bridge and we got a sense of how it was impacting the people that we have come to care about over 20 plus episodes.
Yep.
So
And I
I was thankful to see that the show did that.
and I also appreciate the way that we inside the character mind, the character situations. So we see the sense of how hopeless like the whole things become
Right.
when we eventually get to like the ship getting destroyed, getting captured, destroyed, and like overpowered there by the gargoyle ship. So yeah,
Yeah. And it takes a long time too.
that's right.
The the
The struggle
characters the
we
characters
see.
realize pretty quickly
Hmm.
that they don't have a real way out of this. Like Nemo comes,
That's right.
he Grandis and Sanson and Hansen, they come up with a plan, and Nemo is like, do it,
Hmm.
and they manage to avoid um, death.
Hmm.
But yeah, very quickly the characters are like, they start to resign themselves to their fate. They're like, this is hopeless, and
Hmm.
they're like they're anticipating their own deaths, and they're
You
panicked and they're scared, and we're allowed to sit with that for like a long time.
They're not really reassigned to their fate though. They actually plan to counterattack.
Well,
So
that's true, but the guy in the
like
green shirt, the navigator guy, he literally says this is hopeless.
that's right. So I actually like that. I actually like the way that like even Nemo and the people in the Nautilus, they know about like how hopeless all these things become. They still try to one last like one last shot,
Yeah,
and actually they did it. So it's been a very good episodes.
yeah. I love Nemo's his catchphrase. You know how he always orders the crew to do
Yep.
something crazy, like
Yep.
take some crazy evasive action or
Yep.
something, and they're always like, but that might destroy the ship, and he always says, "Come on." Like it doesn't matter, just do it.
Yep.
It's our only chance. What a cool guy.
Yep.
But he does put his daughter in his cabin and send her off,
Yep.
which leads us to
All
the
right.
filler
The
episodes.
the filler episode. So what do you think about the filler episodes? You said you didn't mind it that much.
No, I'm surprised at how okay with it I
Competent.
was.
How competent it is.
Yeah,
All right.
well, competent, that's a strong word. Do
All
you
right.
remember do you remember episode 25, the one with the
Oh,
do you remember
yep,
episode 25, like what happens in it? That's the one with the magic
yep.
mushrooms at the end.
Uh huh.
Do you remember that shot of Jean and Mari standing outside the cave
Yep.
where it's like totally blurry, the screen looks smeared,
Hmm.
and they're talking to each other, and the screen is not moving, like nothing is moving, their lips are not flapping,
Yep.
and then halfway through their conversation it totally shifts, like the art style kind of changes and
Hmm.
their mouths start like there are some serious technical and production issues
All right.
in these episodes in places,
All right.
but yeah, I think they're okay.
I want to ask you first that did you feel did you sense the change from the more serious Nadia into those three filler episodes?
Oh
You
yeah, I sensed the change when Jean decided to drink all the water that was pouring into
that's
the
right. That's
cabin.
because that the sense of like I wouldn't say humor, but that the sense of animation um whatever that the show have hasn't done that in the beginning.
Yeah, it's kind of breaking the reality of the series, the kind of
That's right.
the
That's right.
rules that it set out for itself.
That's right. I actually think that that particular scene is the worst.
You think so? Not the
Yeah,
one with King using his teeth as a can opener with like sparks coming out?
that's animal abuse. That's yeah, that's a bit of that as well. Yes,
Yeah,
and
those are like clear signals that there's been a shift in the series.
mhm. I still think though the story might not get worse because I'm thinking that on this episode already mapped out before the directors left.
Oh, I
I'm not really sure about that though.
yeah, I don't know. Based on these 3 episodes, it's just like them hanging out on a deserted island. I'm kind of worried about what's going on, like what where we're gonna go next.
All right, and we have the relationship between John and Nadia that it kind of grow into some kind of romantic,
I guess, but he was under the influence of
but it's her.
psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah, but it's her who kissed him.
Yeah, but she was also delirious with a fever, wasn't she?
Yep. Um. All right. All right. So let's
I don't
talk
know. I don't
about.
know if she had like recovered by that point. But yeah,
Yeah.
she gives him a kiss.
All right. So let's talk about how stubborn Nadia behaved for the last three episodes. For the last 25 episodes,
Oh my god.
the the
They
is
ruined her.
yeah the escape into you. How annoying she is. She
In
become.
episode 25 it really did because they opened that one with like a 5 minute debate. Or
Yep.
debate is too highbrow a term. A 5 minute like shit flinging match
Love
between.
Squirrel.
Oh yeah, that's right. What do they say in Japanese? It's like fufu.
Is it
Fufu
Fufu?
means like married couple. And you
Oh,
know
right.
how Mari always says to them like you're she says something fufu something like
Yep.
you're bickering like a married couple, and they always get mad at her.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, they have lovers quarrels, I suppose. The show likes to really push that by using that term.
Hmm.
Honestly, I don't really care about the romance between John and Nadia that
Yep.
much. I think they're fine as friends, and I don't think the we get a lot out of whatever romance there is between them. At least I don't. I'm sure that's like a personal thing.
There's still a message in these three episodes though that men can live alone uh, with the environment, so they have to make things in order
Right.
to live with the environment. I think that's kind of like a valid point.
I think that's what sets us apart from animals, even though we are animals.
Yep.
That's what a sign of our the stage of evolution that we've reached, I suppose.
Yep. I don't know how that will change though, I don't because I don't think that Nadia gonna like eat any of animals meat, any meat, or
Yeah,
or or John and Mary have to give up eating meat. So
no.
I'm not sure how that gonna be resolved.
I don't think they're. That's the thing. That's why episode 25 to me was like a clear step down, even next to 23 and 24, was
Yep.
they kind of just went round in circles. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, no one's mind is going to be changed. No one's mind should be changed.
Yep.
Nadia's choice not to eat meat should be respected, not just by the characters, but by the
Yep.
series.
Mm-hmm.
We know at this point that she is a vegetarian.
Yep.
We don't need a whole bunch more discussion of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that she's like espousing her beliefs so fervently, and is
Yep.
like yelling at John as he yells at her, it's just not necessary. But then some of these episodes, as they go on, might start to feel unnecessary. I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
All right. And even in like in realistic sense, how do they have egg? Because I don't remember seeing any bird. And if they have any birds, why don't kill the bird instead of fishing?
Oh no, the egg thing was just an example. John was trying to win the argument.
Nah, nah. Actually, they he making an omelette
Oh,
with
that's
meat.
right. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure what happened. Mhm.
Yeah, if we're once now that we've entered the filler
Yep.
territory, you might not want to look too deeply into the kind of food they're eating and where it
So
comes from,
so
even
is
though they are
that
on a deserted island.
yeah. So is that gonna be what happened in this act? The three of them stay in the deserted island doing
I
nothing.
think they no, I think they move around.
All right.
I haven't seen past episode 25,
That's all right. We're gonna
but
see for the next week.
yeah, I think they move around just based on what I remember from hearing
Yep.
about this show for so many years before actually watching it.
Yep. So bottom line, I don't mind the filler episodes as far as these three episode goes. I just don't appreciate they like cause they breaking the realistic part. That's the first 22 episodes building up to. So I don't like the fact that like John uh drinking on this water and get like pop up.
Yeah.
I I don't like that. Hopefully the show doesn't rely much on that.
Oh, I we'll see.
Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, I'm pretty okay with the filler act so far. I actually like the
Even episode 25, man, I
even
thought it was bad.
even episode 25, even in the mushroom cave. w- I actually like the visual where like you see on the speckles
Right.
where he eating the mushroom. I think that's look good.
Yeah.
So yes,
What I liked most about episode 25, maybe the only thing I liked about it, were the flashbacks that we got to Nadia's past with Popo
and
the elephant.
elephant. Yeah,
Yeah, and also the conversation that she has with the ringmaster.
is that Dumbo?
Um, the elephant.
Yeah, the elephant.
I didn't see
Sad
any.
elephant.
I didn't
Yeah.
see any flying ears.
All
So no,
right.
not Dumbo. But
All right.
she has to, it's Pope. His name's Popo,
Popo. Yeah.
and she's sad because he has to be put down. But it just the fact that she is so like respectful of animal life,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that she has a distrust of adults because we get
Yep.
that scene with the ringleader
Yep.
who is like cracking the whip at her
Yep.
while she's on the tightrope, and then he offers her food and tries to like cajole her into
And
um, working with him the way that he wants and saying, "Oh, it's not as though I hate you or anything." She's being manipulated. It
yep.
perfectly explains how she is now, the distrust that she has of adults and
That's right.
the
Mm-hmm.
respect that she has for animals.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, like, do you remember the scene where we saw Grandis and Sanson and Hanson
Yep. Yep. Yep.
for
Shooting on the
like
shack.
yeah for like 20 seconds we see them and then they just disappear.
Yep.
And then same with Gargoyle in the floating
Yep.
battleship. We just see him for a little bit, and he talks about Nemo's death, and then
Yep.
he goes away.
Yep.
Uh,
I think the show tried to update us about all these other characters.
I guess, but it after not seeing them at all in episodes 23 and 24, rather than feeling like an update, it kind of felt like the show forgot, and then it felt obligated to like give us a little bit of like information.
Yep. And I feel the act a, changed a bit as well. So like now in the when we see them from afar, so in the what they call the big shot, established shot. I don't remember what the technical term of that, but the character feel like off modeled.
Oh yes, oh yeah, that's all over these episodes.
Yeah. So that's actually the only thing. Some of the characters inconsistent, movement inconsistent, but otherwise it's still serviceable for me, at least for now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good enough.
Yep.
I was ready coming into this. I knew there would be a rough patch, and I think the show's doing okay. There were actually even a couple like really standout moments. Do you remember the montage at the start of episode 24 when John is like he's creating that boat? This is after Nadia has said she's going to be one with
Yep.
nature,
Yep.
and she runs off into the jungle. Then John like makes a boat, and he gets everything out of the captain's cabin
Yep. Yep.
when the
Yep.
tide is down,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and he makes a shelter and creates like a signal fire.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
uh, that entire thing was really nicely scored. Like it was set well to the music,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked nice. The animation was good. The characters were all looking exactly how we've gotten accustomed to them.
Yep.
Um, it's like they dumped all their time into that montage, and I was okay with it because I thought it looked and sounded fantastic.
All right. Could you provide me more information about the whole situation behind the scenes? So, why did Anno come to like abandon the project
Uh,
for 10 episodes?
he was suffering from depression,
All
as
right.
best as far as I know.
Is that from the show, or is that from his real life?
It's probably a combination of both. He tends to throw himself into his work, so
Yep.
his work becomes his life.
Mm-hmm.
But there are probably outside factors. I'm on the production section of the wiki right now. Um, Gynax's initial involvement with the project occurred during an internal power struggle within the company. Gynax, by the end of the series, Gynax had lost 80 million yen on the project and had no rights to the series. There
Wow.
was a meeting at the NHK where senior Gynax staff demanded that somebody be removed from the project or else they would withdraw.
All right. I
It
read
just
some.
looks like it was a very tumultuous production. What did you find?
Yeah, I read into his wiki, into his name. So he fell into 4 year depressions following Nadia. Um, and he complained that he was given little creative control of the
Hmm.
show.
Oh, I just
All right.
found out that the island episodes of the series were animated in Korea,
All right.
so it wasn't Gynax doing it.
Hmm. That might explain.
Yeah,
All right.
it looks like the project was not not a perfect one,
Mm-hmm. All right.
but it's doing okay. The
Yep.
the three island episodes we've seen so far, they're all right.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard
It's not that infamous. Or we haven't gotten to that infamous part.
oh we're in the infamous part.
No, so it's not that infamous to me at least.
Oh, just from what we've seen and the mostly like positive reception.
Mm.
Yeah, I've heard just around through the grapevine or what have you that
Yep.
episodes 30 and 31 are actually pretty good.
All right. Ah, we will get to episode 30 next week, so
Yep.
we're gonna see about that.
Yeah. And so, in terms of our plans for next week,
Yep.
like I I'm honestly I'm not planning on watching another episode of Planet with. I
All
was
right.
like I was so turned off by episode 4. So
All right.
what do we want to do about that?
Because I still up to date with Angomos, and I don't think the show is that good to be covered.
Yeah. Do you want to
So
do like you mentioned that you read the High Score Girl manga? Do you want? I kind of want to read it and
all right,
like talk
how
about it. Do you want to do
all right
that or what should we do?
they shooting out that the manga that of High School Girl that I read isn't the finished. It isn't finished yet. I think it's in volume 8, and there's gonna be like 2 more volumes before it finish. So you still alright with doing that?
I don't know. Maybe. What else is what else you got?
And if we're doing show, like how many chapters that we're gonna do it?
I
All
don't
right.
know. Just figure out how many weeks in the season are left, like 8, and then divide up how many chapters there are by 8
I
and something like that.
I have some other plan though. What if, because you remember I talking about Studio Ghibli?
Hmm.
Uh, can how about we watch like one of the film for each episodes for each week?
That's a lot of
Uh,
films.
that's a lot of film.
We could try something like that.
It's gonna be like more time consuming though.
Yes, it will. That's a lot
Yeah.
longer than one episode.
Yep.
I also have another idea. You know how you're watching like a bunch of different anime?
Yep.
What we could do is like right before we record an episode,
Yep.
you just tell me which of the shows had like a really good episode that week, and I'll just
And
watch it with no context, not having seen the rest.
is it will work best for you?
I don't know.
Because
I'm just trying to figure out what we can do so that I don't have to watch another episode of Planet with. As long as I don't have to do that, I'm gonna chill. I'm cool.
all right, because we can do that, but for all the show that have like like proper act, that would
I don't need that.
you sure?
I not really, but
All right.
seems like it might be fun.
I don't know. Maybe next week we can get by with Asobi Asobase. Is
Sure.
that the name? The episode 4. Watch that. See if it's like if up to your alley. I don't think so, but just try it.
Yeah, we can start with that one.
Yeah. Or we can go back to Chill Chan if someone's still interested
Y-
to
You know
talk about
what?
that.
At this point, I would rather watch Chio-chan than Planet
Planet
with.
with.
Yeah, that's how desperate I am.
All right. All right.
Well,
We figure out about the plan later.
yeah.
All right.
Are we good? We signing
Yeah.
off.
We good now. So thanks for everyone. As you can hear from Whooper, this week is not a good week for anime on the show that we covers.
Maybe it just
The
wasn't a good week for me.
I don't know. I think it's just me, but I think this seasons I have a lot to watch, and others seem to be like don't have any option to watch.
Man,
So
I feel like the season's bad, but you know what? I checked out what's going to be airing in fall next
yep.
season, and
Is it better
we might be in for a rough patch then too.
or is it? I see some more original show for next seasons, which actually very encouraging. In all right,
I hope they're all great. We'll find
all
out
right,
in a few months.
that's right. Thanks for listening, guys. I have nothing else to talk about you, so see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.